Hello, welcome to today's video on Vectr, a powerful open source platform used by red teams to track their internal operations, to plan, execute, and assess their attack simulations. Unlike other tools that focus only on execution, Vectr provides a comprehensive suite of options for managing the entire red team lifecycle. You can do a quick search for Vectr Security Risk Advisors for your own deep dive into the documentation and their GitHub, as I will not be covering everything in this video, since I made this video for my own documentation and research reasons only. Alright, so let's log on to the platform. And what we're going to do first is start with our database or our test and sort of environment. In this case, from the drop down, we have some options here that I'm going to let you guys explore these, and I'm going to choose select active environment. Here you see SANS SEC699. This is where I picked up this tool from, and I'm learning it. And I have the option here to create my own or create a new one, whatever that is, test and so on. And it's gonna get automatically pre-selected for me, or I can choose go back to select active environment, and I can delete this one, right? Because I don't think I'm gonna use it. Nonetheless, now you know how to delete these active environments. And I'm going to choose this one instead, hit done. It's going to get pre-selected for me. And what I'll want to do is begin setting up my a new assessment. And for that, I'm going to go on the library here and I'm going to choose assessment library. Now, you see some other options here, and these are all sort of options for you in a library that you can configure yourself. They come pre-configured for you, but you can add your own with your own attack tools and your own defense tools and so on, and your own tags, detection rules, etc. You can even import data. I'm gonna let you guys explore these in your own time. So again, we clicked on assessment library and we got this um, dashboard here. These have come pre-configured. The one at the bottom I've created, and you kind of see that all the options are the same, and you have the delete and you have the share the data. You can export it to a file, you can clone it, or you can actually load it, right? So whatever you load from here, you're going to see that it was part of a campaign for lateral movement, initial access, etc. I'm not going to go through all of these because this video is just a basic introduction to the platform. So instead, I'm going to load my own campaign that I've created here that only has one option here um, with, and each of these campaigns actually have several test cases in them. So I'm going to keep this very simple for learning matters, kind of. Here now I can hit edit here, and this I've created myself, and you'll see in just a minute where I was able to create and add these test cases to it, because it's really up to you and your reasons and how complicated you want to get with this. For my case, for my video, I've created this with only 2 test cases in it. I don't see anything that I need to modify here. You could possibly choose here MITRE enterprise tactics and so on, your own organization here. You can create your own with name, description, abbreviation, maybe your company's website, etc. Okay, I'm going to leave this as default as security risk advisors, and I'm going to hit cancel here because I've not done any changes here, so there's nothing for me to do here. After the assessment library, we have the campaign library. So I'm going to click here, and again, at the top here, you're going to see the defensive agent self-learn. Now you have some other ones here that you can load, and you'll see that, like you saw previously, that I had 2 test cases there. Now some of these for persistence, they probably have, a handful or more, depending on what's been done, or actually nothing in them. Some of them are actually very interesting, and you can explore these on your own and even build your own executable off of these, whether individually per item, if the system allows it, or you can create one executable for all of these. We'll get there in just a minute and you'll see how that's done. So for this purpose, I'm going to load my own, and you'll see here that I've added the financial services execute remote exe using MSI payload and the disable defender using PowerShell. Okay, so here we have the option to clone this test case. For whatever reason, maybe we just want something almost the same, but not really the same, and we can change, things in it. This is what they look like inside these test cases. What you see here, I'm going to start from the top left here. You see a status not performed. Is because we haven't ran this yet, but when this becomes active in just a minute, you'll see where um, when you click on play here, the text start will pre-populate with the date and the time, and when you click complete, the attack stop will pre-populate with date and time. The source is here. It's just asking you for the system that you will be using to launch the attack, whether it's a Unix box or a Windows box, that is up to you. It's just notes keeping, right? On the target side, it's the same as well. It's just notes keeping. This system, Vectr, does not have an option to launch an attack from inside the platform. This is only for documentation purposes, and it has all these beautiful options, and it's a very useful tool. Um, and the targets here is just going to be, you can do whatever you want. You can do a host name or you can do an IP address. Again, it's just for documentation purposes. Then in the red team details, you can name this test case, whatever you want to name it, provide a description, however long. If you are testing something from the MITRE attack, this is where you can find all of these options and you can go through them and choose whatever you need. It's all going to be in here since the Vectr platform very much supports the MITRE attack kill chain. And from here you can choose, based off of that, the MSI you can choose the defense evasion part, right? Unless you want to use anything else for yourself like weaponization or whatnot. And here's the kind of the guidance. It's still sort of a description, um, because this is not where the command. If you get the option to build and download, this is the command that is in here, or I'm sorry, the binary that you'll be able to generate will not be based off of this command. It's actually going to be from within the configure. So in here is where you're going to type your commands, and for this MSI, and given that there's nothing here to execute, you'll probably see that there's no we will not be able to generate an executable off of this. But if we were to add something in here, and in whatever format, whether it's a PowerShell or a Bash or whatnot, then we'd probably be able to generate a build. So if we were to do MSI exec.exe and would save this, maybe we need more than this. I'm not sure. Um, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave that as that. And then under the attacker tool, this is where you choose the tool that you used to launch your attack. All right. So here you can add your own name, description, version, and you see here lots and lots of security vendors. Um, that they can choose. Or you can even add a new security vendor in here, right? And I'm going to close this for now. And then under the blue team details, what you have here is this is where you'll be um, adding notes as you meet with the blue team, and you ask them, okay, for this test case here, what did you get on the on your Steam side? And it's going to say, well, it's going to be alerted and something else, alerted, but it was a priority of low, which means maybe there's a will to turn that into a high priority or something, and other options here. There's also an option for evidence files, whether you want to add a screenshot or an actual file. I'm not sure what the file size is, so you're going to have to dig in the documentation to find out what the file size is. Given that I've changed nothing here, I'm gonna save that, and then I'm gonna go to the next one, which is the disable defender. I'm gonna add the case here, and you're gonna see the same stuff over here, right? This is not much, like, there's for us to modify here, and it only seems that only the red team details are configurable by us, because we'll be able to modify all of these once we go under test case library. Okay, so what you see here, these are actually test cases, right? You see here you can create a new test case. You can name it whatever you want to name it and use the techniques here whatever you want, right? But once we get to the library here, and yes, we can create a new campaign here as well, and you can choose your options from down below. You can even look here for, I don't know, exfiltration or something, right? And it's going to give you all the options for basically exfiltration, and you can choose whatever you want. What we'll do here is go under library and test case library, and I'm going to be looking for my clone that I've created, and I'm going to see this here. All right. Now again, the options here are delete, clone, or edit the test case. So let's see what kind of options we get here now. Kind of the same options that we got before. So not very interested here in this, doing much here. So what we'll need to do next is go to testing here, right? Before I go on, actually, I should probably talk more about the library. You have the attack tools and defense tools and so on. And if you go here, you'll see that you can add your own tools that you use with the description and vendor and version and so on. Or you can come here and even modify these. Apparently, there's not a whole lot to them. Version TBD, just a path. And this is just a tool um, for notes taking purposes. Okay. And defense tools, kind of the same story. So once we go to testing here, we're going to launch our first assessment, right? And I'm going to choose from here my default one. You'll see what it looks like. All I have to do is just create it here. There's not a whole lot of options here. Well, I'm sorry, there are a lot of options here, but not a lot that I want to modify for the video. So I'm just going to hit create here, right? Because I've already had my own cases, and so yeah, I'm trying to keep this simple. So once I created this, you'll see here that the options that I have are to delete it, add some tags to it. For instance, I can call it the internal domain, hit apply, and then once you do the drop down there, you'll see that it adds a tag, and it's easily to distinguish if you have hundreds of these, right? Status not performed because we haven't done anything with it yet. And then here, this will open a second tab, and you'll see here same basic options where you can edit this, you can choose tags or whatever, or you can clone it. You can start a new campaign from here or edit the actual assessment, right? And what you'll do here, you can actually edit the assessment. Gives you nothing. Anyway, moving on. And then if you click this and you get to the actual defense evasion, you'll see here the two options that we chose before, or the two test cases that we chose before. Okay. And what you'll see here is that you have the sign here of download next to for each of these cases. In the previous video that I made for the MSI payload, I didn't have anything because I didn't have a command in there. And I'll show you in just a minute what that's where you have that command. So you need to put this command under configure. Now there's not a whole lot of here. Clearly this can get much more complicated and more creative, and you can do this, like I said, PowerShell, Bash, whatever you think is going to run on that system, right? And this is where you would start the attack, stop the attack, choose your sources. In my case, I'm going to choose Kali. You can click on the plus and add whatever you want, and you can choose, to document whatever as your source of attack. I'm gonna keep Kali here, and then for the targets, I'm gonna choose DC3. You can again add your own. It's just a note, and that's it. And then hit close there, and you see this. These were both added there. On the configure side here, looks like we still have the MSI-exe. Why is that? Um, that's fine. I think this was the first one that I selected. And I think I'm mixing it up with the PowerShell command to disable the Windows Defender. But this is where we get the options to choose whether this command that we ran, right, was was detected or not by the system, right? So here we can say in our discussions with the blue team whether this was alerted or not, and what sort of priority, and what tool detected it, right? So I'm going to choose silence here, and you can add your notes in here, right? And you can add even a tag. You can just say, well, this was whatever, the SOC team, right? And you can choose green there and save and have the SOC in there. Make that the favorite and so on. And then you can add evidence files here. This is what it looks like. Now you can say, well, I want to add a file, some kind of a file or something in there, right? Some text file. And this is what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to hit save here. Um, and then you'll see here how the status changed, the outcome and the tags as well. Additionally, you can click on this other option for a defensive agent and do the same. Well, in your discussions with the SOC, well, was this logged? Yes. Was it centrally logged? Yes. Which tool did this? Well, I'm gonna choose curator, for instance here. Uh, Tags, yeah, I can say it, was a SOC and the engineering. I can choose more than one. And I'm gonna say the attack started then, it ended then. The source was my Linux, and my target was my DC03. And again, we've already gone over all these options. So you can name this and use the description to whatever you want, to whatever technique you're using off of the MITRE ATT&CK. You can use that here with the phase. And here's where you will see this command that is also specified, that can help you disable the real-time monitoring for Windows Defender. That is if you have the right privileges. And from here you can build the actual executable that will attempt to disable the Windows Defender real-time monitoring. Okay, so this should take a few seconds to finish. Um, in the meanwhile, and you see here getting downloaded. You see here also several examples of it because I've tried this in several videos to make sure it works for you. And then you can choose from here the attacker tool that you used, um, or pick them all, whatever. And same situation here with the blue team, right? So I'm gonna choose to save here, and now we see that this is also sort of filled out here. Once this conversation is over, you'll likely want to generate a report, a heat map report. And for that, you're going to go to reporting here, and you're going to go to MITRE ATT&CK alignment. Right, and right away it's going to come up with the report type, which is a heat map, and the assessment name. Now, if you have your several, then you'll see several there, and the campaigns themselves. So under that assessment, if you have several campaigns, then, well, you have several campaigns. Additionally, here you can download the heat map from what was generated. So what was generated here? So it looks like we got a yellow one here, and this was for the century log stuff. And you can click it, and this is going to come up. It looks like you have edit rights here. So you can name it whatever you want, whether it's alerted or none, or whatever. And it's going to change the color based on on how the platform thinks that or has this labeled as, right? And and then we should get the other one as well, just probably somewhere at the bottom. And looks like we're doing good here. It's a low. So what if you want to do this as a high priority and still you get alerted by silence and it should turn to red, still green? Okay, sure. Okay, um, this is looking good. And so we can generate a heat map, right? So when this comes down, you'll see here that on the defensive Asian, you have these. Additionally, you can um, let's see what other options we have here. Instead of a heat map, you can also have a kill chain summary, right? So it's going to give you here, it's going to say, well, it's kind of a 50-50 here. So additionally, you can try some other options like the data integrity or something like that. There's nothing here, and so on. Okay. Um, One of the standout features is the detailed attack mapping, and we've seen the MITRE ATT&CK matrix visual representation um, of all of our findings. This helps in identify which techniques were successful and which ones need more focus in your environment. Um, Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you soon.